Hey, how's it going, everybody? Today I'm going to be talking about Venom in preparation for its sequel, Venom Let There Be Carnage, coming out in a few days, which I'll be reviewing and posting by October 1st. Venom is a 2018 action sci-fi movie starring Tom Hardy, Michelle Williams, and Riz Ahmed. Tom Hardy plays Eddie Brock, who's a news reporter who stumbles onto a sort of dark secret by Riz Ahmed's character Carlton Drake, and from there, a lot of crazy stuff happens, including the inclusion of Venom, who's what's called a symbiote, a sort of an alien character that comes into the story. And together, Venom and Eddie Brock have to come together to fight Carlton Drake and his symbiote, Riot. I saw this movie in theaters a few years ago, but it turned out to be a really pleasant surprise for me, and I ended up really enjoying it. I had a good time. First of all, Tom Hardy delivers this really energetic, interesting performance. You never really know what's going to happen when Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock, is on screen. At the start of the movie, he plays the character as a very charismatic sort of persona, but once Venom is introduced into the story, he sort of changes into this very interesting, you can't take your eyes away from sort of character. It's really interesting, and I love how Tom Hardy played it in this movie. However, Michelle Williams, who in this movie plays Eddie Brock's ex-fiancée, she's sort of wasted. It sort of feels like, other than giving Eddie Brock a bigger character, you could basically remove her character from the movie and it wouldn't really change it all that much. But let's talk about Venom, okay? Once we get into the part where Venom comes into the story, it really gets pretty awesome. I think there's some really amazing action that goes on that's sort of interesting for us to watch as an audience, because we're kind of used to seeing the hero of the story, be a little bit more tactical, a little bit more thoughtful. So to have Venom, who's more of an anti-hero, just basically go off on a bunch of people. It's very entertaining to see, and there's definitely some satisfying kills that go on in the movie. As many people have said, I think this movie probably would have been better as an R rating. There are definitely a few times where it feels like they were pulling their punches a little bit to get the PG-13 rating. So I definitely think it could have been better R, but I definitely understand why they made it PG-13, and overall the action still holds up even in spite of the PG-13 rating. However, once we get a little bit later into the movie, the third act sort of devolves a little bit into a classic sort of CG-filled fight, and I wouldn't mind this too much, but the issue is Venom and Riot, unfortunately, they're colored pretty similarly. So when you're watching the action sequence, it's kind of hard to tell who's who, and it takes you a little bit out of the story. One thing I didn't expect going into Venom was that it's kind of hilarious, especially how Tom Hardy is acting in the movie. There's certain scenes where it's just absolute mayhem, and you just don't know what's going on, and it's hilarious to watch. But there's a lot of funny comedic moments in this movie that really work, and they're actually really funny, and it was sort of unexpected because the trailer sort of presented it as this dark, almost horror-like movie. And while it does have some of those elements, it's actually really funny too. The movie is actually also surprisingly well written. I didn't think this going in, especially with all the bad reviews surrounding it, but it's not as bad as you think it is. It's a really entertaining movie. It doesn't suffer from what a lot of movies are suffering today, in my opinion, which is they don't sound like anything a human would say. In general, the movie has good dialogue, except for some outliers like the infamous "turd in the wind" line, which you kind of have to see to believe.
Rolling down the street like a turd in the wind.
I think one of my biggest complaints about the movie, though, is that I like when Venom's in it, but there's not enough Venom. The movie really takes probably over half of its runtime to get to where we're seeing any sort of Venom action, anything like that. It feels like they spent too much time on setup, and 45 minutes of setup, I can get that. The issue is, without credits and sort of post-credit scenes, the movie's only an hour and a half long. So it feels like over half of the movie is devoted to setting up a character that's the titular character. And I thought that the movie could have gotten into it a little bit quicker, had a little bit more time with Venom. Overall, I was pleasantly surprised with this movie. It's entertaining, it's engaging, it has some really cool action, and overall, not nearly as bad as people had said when the movie had released. It's a very fun movie to watch, and I definitely recommend it. I'm gonna give Venom a +2. So yeah, I was really entertained with Venom on my second viewing, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Anyway, I'll see you then. I got a few more reviews coming up. But yeah, let me know what you think about Venom. In the next few weeks, I've got Venom Let There Be Carnage, The Guilty, which is the Jake Gyllenhaal thriller coming up, No Time to Die. So I got a couple movies coming up in the very near future, as well as some classics I'll be talking about as well. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.